Hi everyone, this is Rajiv. Welcome back on Aavriti once again. And today we'll be doing a jeans flat drawing in Adobe Illustrator CC 2017. So sit back, relax, and just be with me for another 30 minutes, and you will learn how to do a flat drawing in Illustrator. I have also added the source file, the AI file, in the link in the description of this video. Feel free to download it and have a look at it yourself, and you can modify the file as per your own wish, or you can learn from it. Before we choose pen tool, we'll make sure that it has a stroke applied on it. So I'll click black here and make sure that the width of the stroke is set to 1 point. Okay, and now I'll start with pen tool. I'll again draw, you know uh, see depending upon which version of Illustrator you are using, you might see the guides. I have the smart guides enabled. That's why every time I hover my cursor at a different region, I'm getting inferences, like automatically it is giving me a perpendicular to this line, or I can continue straight and it's automatically aligning it up for me. So these features are really nice. If you are not able to utilize this smart guide feature, that means it's turned off. So go to view menu and then look whether smart guides is on or not. If it is, it's a very helpful feature. So make sure that smart guide is on while drawing. We'll draw the half of the denim first, and then we will reflect it to complete our flat drawing. So let's select pen tool again, and I'm just going to eyeball the size roughly here. So click, and this is going to be the crotch, and this is the length of my denim. So I'll click and drag, click and drag. I'll set it later on. Right now just click and drag, make sure that it has a curvature, and I cannot click here. If I click here, I'm not going to get that flat bottom here which I want. So I have to click back on this anchor point to convert it into a cusp anchor point, or a corner anchor point for that matter. Okay, and then I'll go slightly away from here, and then I'm purposely not making it perpendicular because the legs are spread, and when it is like so, it will be on a little angle. For the waistline, you just take your cursor up and you will see automatically Illustrator will give you inferences that it is coming perpendicular to this particular line. So I'll land it here and then join it with this one for getting a shape which resembles to a leg of a denim. I'll make it narrower. Narrow denims are in fashion. Okay, fine. So half of the denim is, the basic shape of the denim is ready at least. Now let's zoom in and then do a little detailing here. There has to be a waistband here. For doing the waistband, see, I can draw. Now notice, if this is selected and if I click on pen tool and then click here, it's not going to let me start from here. Instead, what it is doing, it is adding an anchor pointer. Okay, so if you have this kind of confusion, please make sure that it is deselected, then only go to the pen tool and then click on this line segment to start with a new line. Now for the waistband, I can simply click here and then click here. Alright, now the problem here is that if I fill a color into it, as long as the waistband and the body's color is same, it's fine, which is mostly the case in denim. Okay, but if I want a different color, then I should make my specs in such a way that I can select different parts separately and fill a different texture or a color uh, in those. So I'll switch it back to white, and for doing that, what we can do, we can select these two, and then there is this tool, shape builder tool. You click on that and just hover on top of these You go inside this region and then click on it. That's it. You just need to click once, and now this shape is created out of that line segment in combination with the shape below it. So it's a very handy feature. Otherwise you would have to draw it separately and then cut it, so it saves a lot of time. So we have made the waistband. Okay, now we'll have to do the pockets. For the pockets, again I'm just going to switch to pen tool, click here and then click here and then click and drag, and once again I want the pocket to be separate. Okay, let's just zoom out and then see whether the size is okay or not. Alright, it seems okay. I want it to be a separate shape as well. If this is the case, you have to build the entire shape, and that's very easy. You just click here and click here. So you have manually created the entire shape. And now I need to add a coin pocket. So I'll switch to pen tool, click here and then click here. Okay, now let's see whether we can cut out of this one or not. So I'll make sure that everything is selected, go to shape builder and then hover, and yes, we can do it in this time. We have managed to cut out this much, so our target is complete. Okay, for giving loops here we'll use rectangle tool and click and drag to make a loop here. Okay, so and now it's time to give those details. Alright, and we'll sew stitch lines here, and for that I'm again going to switch to pen tool, click and then click. There is a stitch line here. I'll click back on the move tool and I want it to be a dashed line, so I'll go to strokes and click on dashed and change the dash value to 2 points and cap settings to round cap. Perfect. I also want a stitch line here, so I'll go to pen tool, click here and then drag to set the curve. Fine. And I do not want any fill because white is set as fill color, that's why it is applying a fill. So just click on no fill, and because Illustrator remembers the last setting of the stroke, it automatically gives you that dashed lines. Okay, I also want a dashed line here inside, so I'll go to pen tool, click here and then drag. Now while doing it you may have trouble depending upon your screen size, so I'll just click and drag to set the curve first, and then we can switch to direct selection tool and modify it. Usually we see that there is a double stitch, okay, in the inner seam of the denim, so we need another line of course. So I'll just copy this one only. I can hold alt on the keyboard, make sure that the move tool, the selection tool is selected, and click and drag to make a copy of this one. Now I dragged it up to make the copy, and I'll switch back to sub selection tool, direct selection tool, and then set the curve by dragging this anchor point to the bottom of. Okay, I think accidentally we selected both the anchor points. If this is the case, you make sure that only one anchor point is selected, so deselect everything, click back on it and click once again, and just for the reassurance, this is not selected, otherwise it would have turned blue. Okay, now I'll go top. For zooming and zooming out, I'm holding alt on the keyboard and scrolling up and down on my mouse wheel. Fine. So double stitch. If if you want it to have a stitch line here, you can use line tool, and this is also going to remember the last settings applied to a stroke. We need to pull it on top of everything because it's the loop. Control Shift right bracket is the shortcut which brings it to the front. Otherwise you can also right click on it and go to arrange menu and then choose from these of commands available. Okay, now sometimes we also have bar tuck details here on the denim, so let's do a bar tuck here. We'll see how it's done. So we can use the pen tool once again and just make a zigzag structure like this. Okay, and then reduce the size of it and use it as a bar tuck. See, and I'll just, for the sake of recognizing it in the flat drawing, I'm going to change the bar tuck to red color. So go to the swatches, make sure that stroke is prioritized, and then select the color you want to apply on the bar tuck. Okay, fine. Now rivets. So I'll just make an ellipse, alright, and then change its color to black, of course, and say Control C and Control F. Control C for copying it and Control F for pasting it on the front. So I have two circles on top of each other. I'll reduce the size of the smaller one. See, and I'll just, for the sake of recognizing it in the flat drawing, I'm going to change the bar tuck to red color. So go to the swatches, make sure that stroke is prioritized, and then select the color you want to apply on the bar tuck. Okay, fine. Now rivets. So I'll just make an ellipse, alright, and then change its color to black, of course, and say Control C and Control F. Control C for copying it and Control F for pasting it on the front. So I have two circles on top of each other. I'll reduce the size of the smaller one and then select these two. Now see, when I reduce the size of this one, the stroke weight also got thinner, the weight of the stroke. And if that is not happening in your case, then you hit Control K on the keyboard, bring out that preferences dialog box, and make sure that scale, stroke and effects is selected. If this is selected, you should get it. I'll select both of it by holding shift on the keyboard and say Control G. Select both of them and then group them, and then you can place your rivets where they need to be. Now as I am doing so, I realize that I did not fill white color on it. It is supposed to come on top, right? So I'll just delete them, and because I'm going to repeat this rivet multiple times in my artwork, so I am just trying to find out a way. Let's say that if I have used this rivet 10 times in my artwork and later on I decided that I don't want this particular rivet, I want something else, or let's say that I want to do a little editing, I'm not happy with the way it looks, then changing all the rivets would be very difficult. So what I'm going to do right now is convert this rivet into a symbol. That we can do by hitting F8 on the keyboard and then choose, we give it a name so that you can remember it, and make sure that the type is movie clip, and then say OK, and the simple type should be a dynamic symbol. Say OK. Now it turned into a symbol. If I double click on it, I can go inside and I can do the editing. Basically what I want here in this case, I want to select these two and fill white color inside. So it was a very simple edit, but just imagine doing it 10 times in your entire artwork. So I'm going to place it here. Okay, I'll make a copy here. I'm holding alt as I'm making copies of it. I'm going to put one here, and one will be inside, of course. That's not going to be visible, so I'm not going to put it there. Okay. And let's say I also have a decorative stitch here. So I'm going to switch to pen tool, click here, and come here. So it's just a decorative stitch I have, and I want to apply that, and then let's remove the fill color. It has a white fill applied to it, so switch to none, and I want to apply this stroke setting here. So I'll click I on the keyboard for switching to eyedropper, and then click on this stroke to acquire its properties and apply it to the selected object. Fine. And then I want it on top, so control shift right bracket, the right big bracket, and place it on top. Select this one, control shift right bracket, and place it on top. Fine, so we have done the half of the denim. Let's quickly add a stitch line here as well. So I'll do it with line tool, click and drag. It remembers the last setting, but this is not the setting we want it to have. So I'll hold I on the keyboard, hit I on the keyboard, and then click on this one. Now we are going to make a copy of